the whole remote resourcing thing has a bad reputation. And so with my teams as well, like, as you know, like, this is how we work together. I got one of your developers on my team, and I was a bit skeptical at first. Of like, okay, how's this going to work? English isn't the first language. But there are ways to do it where it can be really effective. And then there's ways where for me, I haven't seen like the complete just outsource model work really well, because there is always a communication barrier. Like, there needs to be that bridging, whether it's BAs or the person close to the company that you're working with,
the client,
that can actually understand the requirements, document it to a degree, and hand it over and manage that relationship. But how have you found people and their acceptance? Because most of your resources are
overseas.
Has that been an issue? Is that something you have to, like, you've got a very well-defined script for?
It was in the early days, and what I'd like to tell you a story about is the early days of Fuse Mobile, which is our software agency. In that we started off outsourcing. So I came from this. I came from a different background at all. I worked in music, so the creative industries, and loved that.
Music's almost like code.
Yeah, exactly. Another language, yeah. And that, that was fascinating. I came to Australia, and but the tail end of that period in London when I was working was I had a promotions agency. So we had a digital kind of marketing agency, and that was leading me into a lot of the kind of digital stuff that was happening around that time, the start of the app stores, basically, and the iPhone taking off. So came over to Australia and got asked to do an app, which was fantastic. It was a company that, it was a well-known company at the time, and we got asked to do the app, which was amazing.
So you'd already started Fuse? And then,
started Fuse. And so I outsourced that project. And I did my research, I outsourced it, and the experience was terrible. It was absolutely terrible, and it scarred me for the next kind of 5 to 6 years of the business. So where I went then was I was like, I'm never doing that again. I need my own team. And they need to be with me in Sydney. And I went down that route, and that route took me through various engineers, expensive offices. You build up a relationship with an engineer, and then they get poached because you're not the biggest player, and they got other opportunities, and which is fair enough. So I went down that route of having my own team. Then it got expensive with Sydney developers and trying to run it over here. So I decided to have my own team overseas in Medellin in Colombia, which was quite an interesting place to start.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but what I had ended up with 12 developers over there. What it did was it actually curtailed the growth of the company, because I didn't want to outsource anything else. I could only finish certain projects with the team I had. I had to either employ somebody else or, I didn't want to outsource then. I was really against outsourcing. And that was blinkered and short-sighted on my part. The company couldn't grow. We had issues, as you know, in this line of work, you have hot seasons as such, where you've got 3-4 projects, you don't know how you're going to handle them, and then they come to an end, and everything comes to an end. And you've got people sitting on the bench, and you're like, where's the next project coming from? So you're looking at ways to kind of keep that consistency, which is constantly looking for new work, but then you get stuck. You get stuck where you can only do so much work with the team you had. So I had to look at outsourcing. And what happened there was, COVID came around that sort of time as well. So I got rid of the office. Got rid of the office meant, I was completely remote. And then I thought, okay, well, let's look for another partner. And that's where I found the partner that I have now over in Ukraine and Poland. And we've been working together for a long time. And they've got a real can-do, quite entrepreneurial attitude in respect of, let's grow this together, and it's worked fantastically since then. So my experience and my experience with clients is that in the last 5 or 6 years, I've probably mirrored what my clients are feeling, that it's very acceptable now. It's, I talk to so many industries where, we've got a client that's an auditor, company auditor. And everybody that's kind of doing the audits and doing the actual work as such is all overseas. So her meetings are, similar to mine. They're either early mornings or kind of go into the late afternoons and into the early evenings. So I'm finding that it's the norm now.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I think also like different industries maybe have different preferences. If you're dealing with more sensitive items, it's a bit harder. But other than that, it's most people, like I think COVID changed a lot of things because people got used to seeing people on remote screens and everything. I know there's a big push now, certain big tech companies saying, everybody come back. We want you in the office. And what do you think about like productivity wise, team culture? Like I know so your guys over there, are they mostly remote? Do they work together? Like what's your feeling on the remote in-office thing?
They mostly work remote, and that's mainly because of the situation in the country. So the conflict, a lot of the developers, the male developers moved to Poland and to continue work and to continue what they were doing. And, and they were obviously torn between, staying in the country and moving away. And the kind of the QAs, the project managers, a lot of them are still in the country in safer zones. So to answer your question, they kind of work remote. So remote is something that, and I think you did it so well with the team, and the feedback I got from our developer working with you was you built that kind of rapport. You checked in. You kind of in some ways over communicated. Everything was done really well in that respect of making sure that they're part of the team. They understand their tasks.
That's right.
And that's why the project was a success. And I've learned from that, that you really do need to put that time and effort in to make sure that works. But going back to your point about someone being close to the client, and that's pretty much me over here with the agency side. I have project managers and they deal with the day-to-day and they'll take requests and so forth and give updates. But when we have, which every project has, that stumbling point or that conversation or, we need to look at it from a strategic overview of, okay, where are we going as a business? We're not talking about a feature set and, when that'll be ready. We're talking about, how can we, what we're building, how can this be part of either the existing company we got, or if it's a new product, how are we looking to launch this and who's our user base, where are we going to get that feedback? So they're the kind of conversations that I have. And in that, what that does is that smooths it over in some respects of any of those kind of issues that, people may have with working with people from overseas, because it doesn't quite feel like that. We feel like just an extended team that happen to be working in different places.
And it gives you that opportunity as well to see where people are at and which direction they're going. So you can spot those opportunities as well and go, oh, actually, like here's a program of work. Have you considered that type of thing? So that's good. Take a moment, hit the subscribe and the notify bell. You can like, comment and share, as well as find more resources at prostapp.com.